Hi, I'm Bruce, a developer from the Windows team here with my coworker Sid. Today, we're going to talk about how to get Windows users productive fast. Usually, IT admins face a few pain points when they're setting up a new device. Our new features, Windows backup for organizations and Windows updates in OOBE, help alleviate some of that and land users in a familiar environment and with the latest updates to make them productive fast. The motivation for Windows Backup and Restore is to ease the pain of migrating devices from Windows 10 to 11 and old devices to new devices. We want to reduce the total cost of ownership and land users on a familiar environment, reducing the time it takes to get them productive. The backup scope for backup for organizations includes user-level Windows settings, such as personalization, accessibility, and the Start menu layout. It also includes the user's Microsoft Store app list. Backup is available on Windows 10 and Windows 11. To complete the backup story, files and folders can be restored using OneDrive's KFM, and policies and managed apps can be restored using Intune. Backup for organizations is admin managed and it is off by default. When it is enabled, the backup scheduled task will run every 8 days. If users want to back up at a specific time, they can back up manually using the Windows Backup app, which is shown here on the right. Users' backups are encrypted and stored in transit and at rest in the user's Entra ID cloud profile. These backups are only accessible by the user and trusted services. This slide highlights where data is stored for backup and restore. Backup and Restore stores data in 2 locations, OneDrive and the Profile Data Roaming Service. OneDrive is used to store the desktop background and lock screen images for the user. Those images are stored in the user's Pictures KFM folder. The remaining data, including the user's Microsoft Store app list, are stored in the Profile Data Roaming Service. To enable backup, IT admins can configure the Enable Windows Backup setting in the Intune Settings catalog. This setting is also available in Group Policy through the Computer Configuration Settings at the Sync Your Settings path shown here. Users also have control of their backup through the Windows Backup page in the Settings app. Here you can see the categories of settings that the user can control. These settings control both enterprise state roaming and Windows Backup for organizations. Now that we've talked about how to back up the user's data, let's talk about restoring. The restore experience can be shown at 2 different points in the onboarding experience. One place where restore is shown is after the account sign-in page during the Windows out-of-box experience. The other place is during the user's first sign-in. When restore is enabled, it will be shown to the user if they have at least one PC backup and the user has not seen restore on this device before. Where backup is available on Windows 10 and Windows 11, restore is only available on Windows 11. Here we can see the restore landing page. This page is the same page that will be shown either during the out-of-box experience or during the first sign-in experience. Here, users have the option to restore from the most recent backup, or they can select more options to restore from other backups. They can also skip restore and set up as a new PC. Restore can be enabled using the Windows Backup and Restore policy on the Intune enrollment page. This policy is applied only once during device enrollment. This policy applies to all devices tenant-wide. Restore can also be enabled through MDM using the Intune settings catalog. The MDM policy is applied during every policy refresh and can be scoped in Intune. The Enable Windows Restore policy is also available through Group Policy. Revisiting the OOBE journey, I want to show you where the policies are applied. The Enrollment Restore policy is applied to the device immediately after the user signs in during OOBE. This ensures that the policy is available before the restore experience is shown. The MDM policy is applied during either the device ESP or the user ESP if the enrollment status page is configured to be shown. The MDM policy is useful on devices where the user does not go through OOBE themselves. This ensures that the policy is on the device and the first sign-in restore experience will be shown. Now I'm going to hand it off to Sid to talk about Windows updates and OOBE.
Thank you, Bruce. Hi, I'm Siddharth. I'm also one of the engineers in the Windows team, and I'm going to walk you through the new feature released in January, Windows updates in OOBE. I want to talk about how it works end-to-end, what the user sees, how the IT admins can enable and configure it, and where it fits in the overall OOBE journey. With this feature, the IT admins via ESP profiles can enable their users to install Windows updates during OOBE. This helps their users to land on desktop with the latest updates already installed. This feature will also honor any pause or deferral settings that you may already have set. The primary motivation of this feature is to reduce a few pain points that the user faces when setting up their new device. You get enhanced security updates from day one. This feature reduces the post-deployment update overhead. And this feature also ensures that you get a consistent experience across all users in your organization with a unified Windows version. You can view more at the blog AKMS OOBE updates. Let me show you where this feature is in OOBE in terms of the OOBE journey that the user goes through. You are familiar with this flow. This feature is towards the end of the OOBE flow before the user goes through their first logon experience. Note that this is different from the 0-day package update that happens earlier in the OOBE. The feature updates happen towards the end. Here is how the landing page UI looks like. Users are informed about the updates occurring at the top. Users are also invited to learn more about their PC features by clicking See More. Next, we are setting the expectation and the duration of the update. And there is a progress bar indicator that shows the user which phase they are in. For example, if they are downloading or if they are installing the update. Users also have an option to cancel this update installation. An opt-out link appears after 10 minutes, giving the system enough time to attempt the download and also respecting the user's choice. Now let me walk you through the process of installing updates during OOBE. First, if the feature is enabled, the update orchestrator initiates a scan for updates. You see that happening on the left side screen with a message showing checking for updates. If any applicable updates are found, the user is taken to the landing page and the update orchestrator begins download phase. During this download phase, the update agent downloads manifest files and tells the client which files we need to download. The update client then downloads those files to a temporary folder. Once these are downloaded, we move on to the install phase. The update client stages this. Now we move on to the install phase where the orchestrator will move these installed packages to a staged state. To commit these staged updates, a reboot is initiated, after which the user proceeds to their first logon. Now let's talk about how IT admins can enable Windows updates in OOBE. In the Intune portal, under Devices, Enrollment and Enrollment Status page, you will see an Install Windows Quality Updates option. A few things to consider here. Existing ESP profiles will inherit a disabled state for this feature. New ESP profiles will be enabled by default and can be configured by the admins when creating a new profile. If you do not have any ESP profile configuration, then this feature will be disabled by default. Another thing to note is that all ESP profiles should be device targeted. You also have the option of using group policy as shown on the right side. Let's revisit the OOBE journey once more. As we talked earlier, the Windows Update feature is towards the end. In this sequence, the user signs in, They can choose to restore from a backup if they want. Then the autopilot device ESP brings down the Windows Update policy, and this setting enables the Windows Update feature. After that, the user chooses their privacy settings, and then they will see the Windows Update scan page, and if an update is found, they will see the landing page. This is the last step before which the user proceeds to land on desktop, except this time with the latest updates already installed.
Thank you, Sid. Now we're going to move on to the demo where we'll take you through OOBE and show you how these two features tie everything together. So now we're going through OOBE. So here we are on the sign-in page during OOBE. When the user signs in here with their Entra ID, the device is going to become enrolled in Intune. Since the restore policy was applied to the device during enrollment, we see the restore landing page here. From here, the user can click continue to restore from their most recent backup, or they can click more options to restore from other machines. When the user hits continue, the restore process will start, and the user's background will be shown behind OOBE to indicate to the user that the restore process has started.
This is the device ESP, after which the user chooses their privacy settings. Now, the update feature policy came down during device ESP, and it is enabled, so we have started the scan for finding Windows updates. Okay, so it looks like we found an update, so we are on the Windows Update landing page. Here you can see at the bottom, we are downloading that update. And while the update is downloading, the user can learn more about their PC in the carousel. And I'm speeding this up, but you can see after 10 minutes, a opt-out link is shown below. Since the install is finished, now we will reboot the device and commit the update.
So now the user is going through their first sign-in experience. They're completing the remaining prompts in their session. Now the user has landed on their desktop with the latest updates installed and their settings and app list restored.
So as you saw in the demo, these two features will help your organization and your users get productive right away when they are setting up a new device. Get started today by visiting AKAMS Windows Backup for Organizations to adopt the Windows Backup for Organizations feature, and aka.ms/OOBE updates to opt into the Windows Updates in OOBE feature. And on behalf of the Windows team, thank you.